So, hi, Krista. Welcome to our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam weekly dive into the whole nectar of the first canto, second chapter. And Lily had this question: we have a banyan tree in Calcutta? It's a mile long. Is that one spirit soul? And so the answer, well, inside your body, it's like a city, isn't it? You have all kinds of cells, and all those cells are alive. Those are individual souls. You even have also bacteria. Like you're like a universe walking around. You got they've got their own. They're also souls, but you happen to be the boss of that city. Like in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there's an analogy of Paranjana, and he's said to be in a city of 9 gates, and that's supposed to be the analogy of the soul within the body. So your cells, they're all actual individual living beings, but you happen to be the boss. It's under your jurisdiction. So there's little souls that animate cells, and then there's the one who has the karmic situation of being the boss of the whole scenario. Does that make sense? Awesome. And you spread
my mind is blown.
Yeah. And you spread your consciousness throughout your body. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to get a tissue, and then I'm going to read something about consciousness. Okay, so I have this book called False Ego, Our Constant Companion and Troublemaker. Okay, so let me open up that book. Read.amazon.com. Yeah. And False Ego. I think we did look at this before. Who made motivating forces? Oh, I like this quote. Prabhupada says, "Parks are necessary for cleansing the mind." Where are we? No. Okay. So just here, let me open up. I'll share the screen for the book. So Prabhupada often said, if you want to become Krishna conscious, first step is become conscious. And so then the author, she quotes from Bhagavad Gita, how the soul resides in the body, but its consciousness spreads, just like the sun resides in one little part, but its light spreads throughout the whole universe. And this is, and then she quotes from this book, Prabhupada in Germany. And so this one morning, I was looking again through the camera's viewfinder, and to my great surprise, I noticed that everything was much brighter than usual. A quick glance at the ceiling confirmed the lighting was the same. No additional bulbs had been put in, so I wondered, what's the matter? Same film, same lights. Then I looked at Srila Prabhupada and saw that he was radiant, as if a glowing effulgence were emanating from him. I remembered a similar incident happened that some New York devotees reported. 2 policemen came toward Srila Prabhupada and his disciples on a morning walk. When they passed the group, one of them said to the other, "Look, that man is glowing." This was the policeman that said it. So she talks about 2 types of consciousness: spiritual consciousness. The person, when Prabhupada did anything he did, it actually became it was so beautiful, because he had very wonderful consciousness. Okay, so you ready for the kidney with chocolate consciousness? So there was one guy who did not like chocolate at all, but he was in dire need of kidney surgery, and his wife, she actually donated her kidney to her husband, and she loved chocolate. And as soon as he got her kidney, her consciousness that was invested in that organ actually became a part of his body. And so one day she woke up and he was like in the cabinet eating all the chocolate cookies and such. And then eventually, after some days, his consciousness actually took over that kidney, and her consciousness was no longer present there, and his interest in chocolate went back to normal. His normal disinterest in it. But when he got her kidney, her consciousness of liking chocolate. So all our activities are executed through consciousness. That's why we're careful about the consciousness of the food, of who cooks the food. We find that the consciousness of like somebody makes art, or your grandmother makes a nice knitted scarf. It's so much more precious because her consciousness is present there within the item. Consciousness travels on sound vibration. You could hear Prabhupada's kirtan, lecture, you can appreciate.
I have a question.
Yes.
So you said that in the scarf, her consciousness exists?
She's putting her, that's, like if you eat some food cooked by your grandmother versus like Taco Bell.
So I don't know if I asked you, so like also, I guess tattooing can work the same way?
Absolutely.
Okay. I like to like be reminded of that. Okay, thank you.
So this whole chapter is very nice about consciousness. Chanting with good consciousness. We chant and we have some desire to be famous, or like, oh, I sing so nice, and it actually it ruins the kirtan. I'm so great. So yeah, there we go. A little bit about consciousness. All right, so yeah, we are on. We're doing a review today of our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto. Carmen, do you remember? Did you start on verse? What verse did you start? Did you join our class in?
I think
Was it
in this one, I think it was like the beginning.
Very beginning?
Yeah.
Dana K, I'm pretty sure was there from the beginning.
Yes, beginning.
Yep. Okay, so we'll just do an overview. This class is a memorization, but it is more so a study, and so it's not expected that everybody will be memorizing it. We all just give our sincere try, and if you can, you can't. But as long as we can hear and study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we're all benefited. Does anybody know this verse? Okay. So I think this verse is actually, it feels like it's the inspiration for the name of this book, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. Has anybody ever read that book, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers? Prabhupada's discussing with Bob, what's his last name? Bob Cohen. He became Brahma Tirtha. But there are, really good questions and really good answers. It's a small book that devotees distribute called Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers. And so here you have Sam Prashna. Sam means complete or perfect. And Prashna. Carmen, do you have any Prashnas? Although it's
No,
spelled,
not right now.
although it's spelled very differently, it even sounds like you're saying question. Do you have any prashnas? Do you have any prashnas? Yeah, question. Very different spelling, but if I say it, you have any prashnas? Most people will think I said that. You have any questions? So prashna, some prashna,
Some Prashna?
prashna.
Prashna. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Any questions? You have any prashnas? If I showed you this word, you wouldn't say, "Oh, that looks like question." No. Prashna, question.
Sanskrit is so
But
cool.
in Spanish, it's called pregunta.
Pregunta,
So
prashna. Yeah.
prashna.
Yeah.
For
And so, if you get a perfect answer, then you become samkrishta, perfectly satisfied. So these first 6 verses, remember the acronym. Does anybody remember what is the letter? What is the acronym? Divine. And the first D is for?
Oh, wait. So wait, can you repeat it?
What's the acronym for the chapter, the flow of the conversation?
For divine?
Yes.
So I think it's dignify.
Yes.
Inquiry.
Inquiries answered, yes.
I don't
Artha.
remember what
Do you remember what the word artha means? Or anartha?
Anartha. Oh, it's like unwanted things.
Yeah, are unvaluable, and then V is for what's valuable. What is artha? What is actually valuable?
Oh, what's valuable?
And then
Jack.
the next I is for increments.
Increments.
The 9 stages of bhakti.
Wow.
And then the N is where we're recently on, is this part where, when the question comes up, like, well, Brahma, Vishnu, these are all amazing, powerful beings. If bhakti is what is valuable, then how do we navigate? Who should bhakti be applied to? Who should we offer unalloyed devotional service to? And so that's in the talks about how Vishnu, he is the Lord of the mode of goodness. Actually is beyond the modes of nature. And those who worship the Lord beyond the modes of nature also transcend the modes of nature. And then E is for expansion. So we're starting that soon, where he talks about the forms of Vishnu who manifest, who create and manifest and are involved in this universe. So we'll just go over. Vyasu uvacha iti samprashnastam hrishto vipranamro maharshanai pratipuja svachastejam parvartupachakrame. So he's thanking them for their wonderful questions, perfect answers. And then he starts to glorify his guru. Tuta vacha Yam prabhajantamanupetamapecha krityam dvaipayano viraha katra ajuhava putreti tanmayataya taravo vinedus tam sarvabhuta hidayam munimanatosmi. So prabhajantam, we have this word pravirajikacharya. There's 4 stages of sannyasa. The 3rd stage is parirajika, person who travels. So he is going away. He leaves everything. He just wanders. So Sukadeva Goswami was like this. He is, remember, you said anartha. So artha means valuable. So anartha means what?
Unvaluable things.
Yes. So this root, this prefix, not root, this prefix, un, is actually coming from Sanskrit. How do you spell un? in English we spell it with a UN, unwell. But how would you spell it in Sanskrit? It would be an, A-N. An upetam. This is right here. It says he was without the upeta, the Brahmin thread. He had not gone under this. He left, just wandered, and his father Vyasadeva was calling, "Oh, my son, putreti, putra putreti, oh my son." And he was calling, and the only thing that was responding were the trees, the echo, abidedu. This guru has the ability to enter the hearts of all. This great sage. Shridayam sarvabhutahedamana anodososmi. Yaswanubhavam akilam shutasaramekam adyatmaripamatitirtishatam samandam sansarinam kurnayaha purana guhyam tam yasasunam upayami guru muninam. So Swanubhavam, Anubhavam, Swa is oneself. So Anubhava means to completely understand. He completely assimilated, completely understood. Akila, the full of Shruti, the saram, the essence of all the Vedas. Adyatma Deepam, he was fixed in the self, the soul, and desiring to overcome the tamondam, the darkness of ignorance, anda, like a well, like a dark well. So he wants to, he is samsarina, for those who are in samsara, who are in this cycle of birth and death. He has karuna. What does karuna mean? Devotees are described as titikshava karunika. Tolerant
mercy?
and
Forgiveness?
Out of causeless mercy?
merciful, yes. So Purana Yaha, Purana Gushyam. Should I make this a little bigger? So maybe some of you on your phone too. Wait,
isn't Guyam a secret?
secret, yes. Secret service. That's why, Secret Service, they always have something in their ear. And so if you want the secret of devotional service, you always have to have Krishna in your ear. Guyam. Is that better, this making it a little bigger? Some of you might be using phones. And let me just move the purport. Okay, and the Devanagari. I don't know. So Purana, the histories, the ancient. Purana also means old. But here it's the sacred ancient literature. Tam Vyasa Sunam. Remember this? Does anybody remember this word Vyasa Sunam? The word Vyasa Sunam means son of Vyas. Vyasa Sunam means son of Vyas. Upayami, after my basis, to the guru of the Munis.
Did you say Vyasasuna means the son, like the son
Son of Vyas.
Okay.
Yeah, the son of Vyasadeva. Here is the Vasasunam is son of Vyas.
Sunam.
So he's offering his obeisances to Shukadeva Goswami, a 16-year-old, blue-skinned, naked ascetic who's going to end up speaking the entire Bhagavatam to the great king and grandson of Arjuna, Parikshit Maharaj.
Wait, Vyasadeva is the author, right?
Vyasadeva is a compiler. Yeah, he put it all together. Yeah, it is however, it has been narrated by Shukadeva Goswami to the king. The king has 7 days to live, and so Shukadeva Goswami is speaking this great knowledge. But here in this chapter is before Sukadeva appears. This is later. The Bhagavatam starts off where it's 1,000 years after Krishna's departure, and they're in a place called Naimisharanya. And the sages are all gathered there, and they're wanting to hear the sara, the essence of the Vedic literature. They're performing a giant yajna, 1,000-year yajna, but to bring benefit to this world. But their question is, what is the highest dharma? What brings the highest benefit? And they approach Sutta Goswami, and Sutta Goswami responds. Here he's glorifying his guru, but he's going to answer certain questions, and then he is going to answer all their questions by repeating the conversation of Shukadeva Goswami to the king Parikshit Maharaj. And so that really starts later on. In I think it starts maybe in this canto or maybe in second canto. I forget which canto Shukadeva Goswami begins to speak. Then Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devam Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudirayet. So we're still in this dignifying section. He's glorifying the twin sages, Nara and Narayana. There's an incarnation of Krishna who comes with a human, with a Nara. And they're twin brothers. And actually these twin brothers, Krishna and his great friend Nara, appear again. And do you know who they appear as?
Wait, these are heavenly people, right?
The Nara and Narayan, they're two great rishis that are brothers and they're twins. One of them is Krishna, one is God, and one is a soul. But they're twins.
Oh.
Huh?
Wait, you're gonna say?
What was their next form? The next avatar?
Is it Balaram?
No, because one of them's a soul and one of them's God. So it was actually Arjuna and Krishna.
Oh, okay, that makes perfect sense. Okay.
He's offering obeisance to these twin stages because there are like kind of the acharyas. Then you have to the Lord, to Divya Saraswati, the divine Saraswati. Actually, there is some of these personalities have their original forms in the spiritual world. There's Saraswati, the demigoddess of this material world, but this is Saraswati, the goddess of spiritual knowledge in the spiritual world, and Vyas. Then he just thanks them for their Munaya Sadhu Prishto Ham Prishta, Prashna, Prishta, Prishto. See, Prishta, question. He said these are good. Sadhu means, we hear this also is saintly, but it's also a word that just means good. These are good questions, and they're create mangala. What does mangala mean? Ever heard of mangala? Mangala arti? Auspicious. So it brings great benefit, welfare to this loka world. Yet Krita Krishna Samprashno Yenat Masat Suprasiti. These questions about Krishna are the only thing that bring real satisfaction. Yenat Ma Suprasiditi. Make you fully satisfied. And then that brings into the next letter. Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktir Adhokshaje Ahaitaki Yapratihata Yatma Suprasidati. So this is going to those inquiries answered. There's actually, in the previous chapter, there were 6 questions asked, and 4 of those questions are answered in this chapter. And the first 2 questions are what's the essence of Dharma, and what is valuable, and what is the essence of Dharma. And so what is the essence of Dharma? Is this devotional service, and it's defined as unmotivated, uninterrupted love unto the Supreme Lord. And this is considered the highest Bhakti Yoga. It actually automatically brings knowledge and detachment, jnanam and vairagyam. There was an article, Vairagya, not Viagra. This is what when you get older, this is what people should be going for, not Viagra. Vairagya. So renunciation. Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janati Ashu Vairagyam Jnana Chatyada Haitukam. These things come automatically by devotional service. You don't have to be a great scholar. You don't have to be very detached. All you have to do is love Krishna, and he'll give you it all. Dharma Shunashtita Pumsha. Now, Krishna is going to, not Krishna, Sutta Goswami is going to explain how bhakti is actually valuable. It is actually essential. It is exceptional. Dharma shunushtita pumsa vikshvakshena katasuyat notpariyat yadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. All this religious stuff, spiritual stuff, whatever you're doing, if it's not leading to love, you are uselessly wasting your time. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Prabhupada like to quote this last line a lot. Shrama. Shrama means hard work for what? Complete waste. Kevala. Like Kevala bhakti means pure, right? Complete bhakti. Here it's mean complete. This sentence is complete waste of time. All your religious stuff, if it's not leading to love, because Dharma is for ultimate liberation. It is not for artha, for financial stability, nor is it for kama, sense enjoyment, or sense gratification.
I have a question.
Yes.
I feel like, or it's not a question, but it's maybe a thought.
Yes, go for it.
If this world was meant for, money, like to make money, then I feel like everybody in the world would have money. There wouldn't be poverty. There would be only like just rich people everywhere, if that was what it was meant to be for.
And that's what the heavenly planets are made for. And everybody's there. They're actually, in general, having a lot more material enjoyment than we're doing here. They're not being pinpricked. They're not having mosquito problems or anything. They are materially enjoying.
So then that's what my question. Well, now I do have a question. Yay! So why, like, what's the point then if you're gonna enjoy everything? Do they also pray to God, or do they not believe in a God?
The demigods?
Yeah, like the higher planets.
Yeah, they're all to go to the higher planets, and there's also lower planets that have great enjoyment. Here, let me show you what Krishna says in chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita. The chapter 9 is in 4 sections. The first 3 is K, stands for he just glorifies the knowledge that he's about to speak. Then I stands for he describes his inconceivable connection to this world, how he's involved in this world, and he is unaffected by this world. How can, nobody is involved in something and not affected, other than Krishna. But then in this section, starting from verse 11, he starts to describe how non-devotees interact with him and worship him. He describes those who worship him as oneness, those who worship him as demigod and the demigods, those who worship him as the universal form. And when it comes to the demigods, when those who are worshippers of the demigods, he says here, those who study the Vedas and drink the, he says, those who do the Trividyamam Soma Vaputa Papa Yagya Swagatam Papayate, they punyam Ashadra Surenda Lokan Ashnanti Divyan Divi Deva Bhogan. So those who follow the Vedas and do all these things, they're actually worshiping me indirectly. And when they get purified of their sins, they take birth in the heavenly planets and they enjoy heavenly delights. Now, that's when they'll say, look, see, that's what we're supposed to do. Worship demigods, and what do we get? Divideva Bhogan. Ashnanti Divyan, Divideva Bhogan. We get to enjoy heavenly delights. But then what does Krishna say in the next verse? The next verse, Krishna says, what is the first line? Hold on. It says, Te tambukva svargatam vishalam shine punye martya lokam vishanti. Vishanti means fall. Martya is mrityu. Mara. Mara. What is mrityu? Mrityu. Mara. Anybody know this one? Mrityu. Mara. Death. So this world, the world of humans, is called the world of death because we live very, very short lives compared to the demigods. So it says, when your karma runs out, when they have thus enjoyed vast heavenly pleasures, and the results of their karma, their good karma, are finished, are worn out, are exhausted, they return back to this mortal planet again. Thus, those who seek enjoyment by adhering to the principles of the three Vedas, what do they gain? Only other than repeated birth and death. So, what is anugatam, anugatam? What does it say here? Evam trinam anuprapana gatam agatam lavante. See? So you can go and enjoy the heavenly planets, like you can go on a cruise, but why can't you stay on the cruise? Lily, why can't you stay on a cruise?
Because you only paid for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, and when your money runs out, you're done.
Yep.
So you can go to the heavenly planets, and when your karma runs out, you're done. You come back here. Now, what's the benefit of going on the cruise versus going on the heavenly planets?
In the cruise, we're here on Earth, so I think we're luckier since I feel like we have to suffer to grow, and then in the heavenly planets, you're not really suffering, so you're not growing as much.
Yeah, demigods have it's very hard to make spiritual advancement as a demigod. They're all devotees, but they're materialistic devotees. They're prakrita bhaktas, materialistic devotees. Sakarma bhaktas, devotees with very much with desires. And so, and if you go on a cruise, you could take something home with you, maybe a little trophy, you know, little not trophy, but a snow globe from your visit to this country or that country. But if you go to the heavenly planets and now you're just in Houston, like, are you benefiting from your previous heavenly planet visits? You've been there before. Do you feel any like, oh, that was so cool? No, you forget it all. So you're just getting, the only thing you're getting is birth and death. And that's what Krishna was saying here. So it's not really the greatest deal. Therefore, Krishna says, here it says, Dharma is not for becoming financially stable or for enjoying material things. It is for apavargasya, ultimate liberation. And even kama, you don't want to be pulled down by kama. If you want to have kama, if you have kama, that kama should just be All I need is a healthy body. Why? Because this life, Jivita is just Jivasya Tattva Jigasa. Life is meant for self-realization. It's meant to understand truth. So the next verse says, well, what is truth? The truth, absolute truth, is understood in 3 steps, 3 stages. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Now, and here it says, and if you want to understand the truth, Tatshradanamuneyo, Jnanaya Gitaya, it is by bhakti, being well equipped with knowledge and detachment. He realizes, even if you want to understand even the lesser stages, there still has to be this element of bhakti. They're not fruitful without some tinge of bhakti. Now he's going to talk about like the whole Vedic Hindu culture, the Varnashram system. That is actually just meant for Paritoshanam. It's actually meant for pleasing Vishnu. So why not just Tasman Ekena Manasa? Why not just constantly hear, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is very nice. He is the Sattvatam Patihi. He protects his devotees. So here's these words: Srotavya, hearing; Kirtita, chanting; Jaya, meditation; and Puja, worship. Do those 4 things constantly. Nityada. This is what smart people do. He continues. Kovidas, the transcendentalists, the kavis, the poets, the wise ones. Intelligent men cut through the binding knots of why? Because devotional service, it cuts away karma. Karma granti nibandhanam, it chindanti, cuts it, chindanti. Therefore, who would not want to do this? Probably somebody who is not so kovida. It's so powerful. It cuts away. And we talk about generational baggage, generational karma. But here it's saying just by doing devotional service, it cuts away. And so then we get how do devotional start? How do we get into devotional service in the first place? And this starts the I section of increments of the 9 stages of bhakti. And so it comes from by the mercy of devotees and service to the devotees. And then we start to, if we can hear, and by some mercy of the devotees, we start to develop an attraction. And then when we do that, then things start to get badanti, vidanoti. It starts to clean our hearts. Cleanses the desire from the heart of material enjoyment, has developed the urge to hear his messages, who are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So by those, when we want to hear, it actually cleanses our heart. And when we serve the devotees, we develop a wanting to hear. And then we do this consistently. Then almost completely, nashta means destroyed, prayeshu, almost to completely, all those bad things in the heart are almost completely destroyed. And then one comes to the stage of nishta, firmly fixed. At that stage, rajas and tamas, the mode of passion, ignorance, is gone. And one becomes situated in sattva. So that means at the stage of when we're anishta, we never even feel, we don't feel sleepy during hearing and chanting about Krishna. it just wakes us up. We feel such freedom from the passion and ignorance. Then we become completely enlivened, prasanna. Our hearts, our minds are enlivened by this bhakti yoga. And we start to have actual connection and association and experience, tattva vijnanam, direct experience of Lord. This means our attachment even goes, not even just being attached to devotional service, but it's great attachment to Krishna. It becomes so great, it becomes like a person is completely mad, even becomes intoxicated. And the heart is the heart is the things in the heart, the knot in the heart. It's just like you take a knife and you go into that knot and you go right in and you cut right through it. Chidante sarva shamshaya. All the misgivings, all the misunderstandings, everything, all the things that bind us to illusion and cover over our vision are cut away. And even our karma is completely destroyed. And we start to see the Lord. Therefore, bhakti is actually paramayamuda, is supremely delightful. Purvanti atma prasadanam. Doing such is actually ato kavayo, ato vai kavayo. Again, here's the kavis, the smart folks, the intelligent. That's what they do because it's so wonderful. And then, what was the next letter? N is for navigate. So here it's now talking about you have these three forms of the Lord: Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And these three forms of the Lord control the passion, goodness, and ignorance.
Can you remind me of what the divin mean?
Oh, the D is for dignify. Remember, he's talking about, he says, these are great questions. These questions bring auspiciousness. And then he starts to dignify or glorify his gurus, Sukadeva Swami. Then I stands for inquiries answered. He answers two of the main questions and then expands on them. But two of the main questions in that very famous verse, Savaikum Samporo Dharma. Then what he begins to explain this valuable thing of bhakti, that it's actually, that's the only thing that's really valuable. If you do dharmic things and you don't get bhakti, you just wasted your time. Then D-I-V-I, now we went through those whole stages of how he's progressing in spiritual life. And now we are on N is for navigate. Understanding. Well, there are amazing, glorious, wonderful, powerful, even they're actually forms of the Lord. In various ways, they are forms of the Lord. Brahma is he is called a guna avatar. He is not the Lord directly, but he is empowered by the Lord to control the mode of passion. And Shiva is his own special category of being a partial incarnation of the Lord. So why don't we worship them? Why shouldn't we just have bhakti for Brahma or Shiva? Why Vishnu? And so it says the mode of goodness is actually, each one controls a different mode: passion, ignorance, and goodness. And so he gives the example. Ignorance is like wood. Passion is like smoke. And goodness is like fire. Now, if you're doing a fire sacrifice, the only thing you can really use in the fire sacrifice is the fire. That's how you connect to this fire sacrifice. Wood is like, wood is compared to ignorance in the sense of inertia. There's no liveliness there. It's just stuck, stubborn, not stale, not moving. And smoke is a little bit better, But smoke burns the eyes, it's agitating. So similarly, there's activity and passion. You've got out of the stuck state. Say you're laying on the couch, and you just got like potato chips all over your stomach. You just got like soda like spilled on your clothes, or beer or whatever, and you're just staring at the TV. And so that's tamas. Just lying there, food, potato chip bags all over the couch. And someone says, "Hey man, you got to work hard. You got to get up and let's do good exercise, and we're going to be tough and blah, blah." And he passion, And you want, don't you want this? You want to be rich? You want to be powerful? Let's get big, busy. So that's passion, but it is like it's agitating. It leads to greed and desire. So many different desires, unfulfilled desires. Passion can lead to anger because desires aren't fulfilled. The fire is the purest. Fire is pure. So in the same way, living entities take the most benefit from sattva, because sattva yad brahma darshanam. Clean the heart. What is that? I wrote this. Clean the mind. See divine. Clean the mind. See divine. Sattvam yad brahma darshanam. Bring your mind to the state of sattva, and you have darshan. You can see Brahma. This is not Brahma. Here Brahma is the long A. Brahma means spirit. You can see the spiritual. You have 4 words. You guys know the 4 words? There's Brahma. There's Brahma or Brahman. Back in those are 2 the same. There's Brahmana. And maybe 3 words. 3 words. Yeah. Sound similar, but they're different. There's brahmachari also. There's a 4th word. There you go. Sattva yad brahma darshanam. And therefore, since time immemorial, Beijire Munio Tagre Bhagavan Shajam. Since the beginning, previously, the sages, they worship the Lord because he is situated above sattva. And if you approach him, then Shemaya Kalpante, you also deserve, or you also, if you follow, Anu means to follow. If you follow them, if you follow the Lord, who is beyond the modes of nature, then you also become beyond the modes of nature. And although the devotees are not envious, they reject some of the fierce forms or scary forms of the demigods, or even the beautiful forms of the demigods, because they're really interested in the actual forms of the Lord, who are pure and shanta, peaceful, beyond the influences of this material world. Rajastama prakritaya, those who are in that nature of rajas and tamas, they look to worship those who are of a similar nature. So they approach the demigod, the forefathers, even ghosts, the cosmic controllers. And why do they do this? Because they want Shriya. They want beautiful women. They want beauty and opulence. They want powers and influence. And they want the progeny. They want big family. They want all these things for themselves. Ipshavaha. They want all these things. And therefore, their consciousness is still in Rajas and Tamas. And therefore, they look to worship those who are also involved in those natures. Just to make it clear, he says, Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramaka, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriya, Vasudevam Param Jnanam, Vasudevam Param Tapaha, Vasudeva Paro Dharmo, Vasudeva Paragatihi. So this is the verse we covered last week. Did you find this verse a little easier? Data K?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So those two verses we just covered in one day. The Vasudeva, the Vedas are for him. Para Veda. The sacrifices are for him. Paramakaha. Yoga is for him. Para Yoga. Fruit of activities. He's the one who fulfills it. Knowledge is to understand him. Austerities are for him. Dharma, bhakti. Actually, that's all meant for him. And he is the actual goal. The gatihi. And so the last verses, we're just almost to the end. He talks about this in the beginning. And the Shasar Jagre, the time of creation. Before creation, what was there? It was only the Lord. This material world, so we'll get into that later on. We'll get into that. Some reflection on the chapter. Okay, I thought I pressed stop record, but I just pressed stop share. I was afraid. Any reflections on this? We covered a lot. Who's going to give us some reflection?
We did cover a lot. That was a beautiful overview. It's taking it all back in. It's a lot. Thank you for doing that.
No problem. Carmenji, any reflection?
Not right now.
Okay. Lily, any reflection or question?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's just chant this one a few times. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakaha. Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriyaha. Vasudeva Param Jnanam, Vasudeva Param Tapaha. Vasudeva Paro Dharmoya, Vasudeva Paragatihi. Someone want to read it out loud? Who's gonna do it? Carmenji? Might not be free. Lily, you want to give it a read?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh.
I thought I unmuted.
No, you didn't. I think you muted yourself.
Oh my god. Okay. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Magaha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya.
Nice. Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Makaha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriyaha. Want to try the next one?
Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Maga, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriya.
Vasudeva para Vedaya, Vasudeva para Makaha, Vasudeva para Yoga, Vasudeva para Kriyaha.
Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakaha, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriya.
Okay, so who can close their eyes and just tell us the last word of each line?
Oh, I can.
All right.
Veda Makaha Yoga Kriya.
Okay. And
The second part?
yes, yes.
The last words I don't remember from memory. Do you, am I
Click on the
supposed to
last one
recite?
then.
I think.
Vasudeva Param Jnanam. Vasudeva Param Tapaha. Vasudeva Paro Dharmo.
Vasudeva Parat
Gati.
Gatihi.
Nice. Vasudeva Param Jnanam. Vasudevam Param Tapaha. Vasudeva Paro Dharmo. You notice there's an O there. Vasudeva Paragatihi.
Vasudeva Param Jnanam Vasudeva Param Tapaha Vasudeva Paro Dharma Vasudeva Parat Gatihi.
All right. Well, I think we're good. Thank you all very much for being here. We're on our final stretch of this chapter. See if you could once a week read all the verses once a week and try to remember how it flows and what are the things that are there that we covered. You can watch this video again and then try to remember all the things that are there. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari Bol.
Bye bye.